It is episode 229 of Dude and a Monkey. My name is Ian Loring. His name is...
Matt Foster. Hello, everybody.
And his name is...
Noel Mellor. Hello.
We are here. Mark and I have already done quite a bit of recording. I'm a little bit drunk now, actually, and now we've got to start the show. So it's a bit of a weird time loop, this is. On this week's show, you will hear the invention of a new rating, because we've already recorded that bit. So get ready.
Yep.
Get ready. As we talk about Thor Ragnarok, we talk about Wheelman, we talk about Geostorm, and we talk about Brawl in Cell Block 99. It is a packed show. Packed show. And I've already introduced people. So, let's get on it, because it's 8:15, and I've got a feeling this is going to be a long one anyway. So, anything to report, guys? Anybody been raped by Harvey Weinstein this week?
Not yet this
Not
week.
this
no.
week, no.
No.
Okay.
No.
I've already made my statement, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right.
I had a very lovely massage.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm glad he completed his 1 week of outpatient therapy, and now he's cured. So well done, Harvey. Well done. Fucking ridiculous. Anyway, right. Trailers.
Sorry, I fucked up.
Did you see that? I will say one thing. I can't remember which. I think it was one of the movie websites reported that, and I read it and thought, I can't remember which one it was, but it was an actual proper movie site was saying that the synopsis for Woody Allen's film that is going to be releasing next year or the year after.
Oh no, the new one after that.
The new one after that is about a man in his mid-50s who starts having a relationship with a 15, 16-year-old girl. And it's a bit like, no, Woody, no, don't make that fucking movie. And not now.
Just
go away.
As we said last week, Mark, Woody Allen does not live in today's world.
No,
he lives in Woody Allen world, where somehow, in the current climate, someone thought, yes, I will throw money at Woody Allen to make that film, and that person deserves to lose a lot of money.
Yeah, Netflix, would it be? Would it be? Is he not tied to Netflix now? Oh, okay.
No, I don't think
so. Netflix, he can make.
I'd touch him, to be honest.
I thought he had a deal with them. Didn't he get a deal with them?
No, Wonder Wheel. He had a TV series with Amazon, and Amazon are financing Wonder Wheel, so maybe they're financing this one as well. But That'd be surprised.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'd be surprised now. Maybe I think maybe they'll just rethink it, like they rethought the Harvey Weinstein series that they were financing to the tune of $160 million.
That's right. Oh God, and you know that was going to be directed by David O. Russell, and now people are rearing the David O. Russell thing again. So it's just fuck, man. I mean, like, films are fucking nasty. I'm going to spend the whole of November just playing Super Mario Odyssey with Lottie and having the best time. And I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of the Super Mario Odyssey lyrics again, which I'm probably going to cut out, but I'm glad I recited them to you guys. So, trailers. Daniel Day-Lewis in a relationship with a woman, and then it goes a bit sour, but he makes clothes.
Yeah.
That appears to be Phantom Thread.
Yeah.
I
can't fucking wait.
I will watch it because it's PTA, and obviously it's PTA, and so it's PTA, and I will watch it. But Noel, did you watch this?
I actually didn't. I've only watched a couple of trailers, and they are the least notable trailers you could imagine. So no, I've not watched this one yet.
I'm really looking forward to it. The trailer does nothing for me.
The trailer makes me says to me, yep, I want to watch this movie. It's not it's just a little bit like, it's not even, because I think the trailer's that great. The trailer doesn't really sell that much, but it's a new Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
The thing is, I thought it was going to be the story of Daniel Day-Lewis walking down the street one day, then noticing there's a bit of like fabric like frayed off his shirt, and he pulls it off and then chucks it down the gutter and it dies, and then it comes back to try and kill him. And I would have been really, really into that. So I was a bit disappointed when I watched the trailer.
Yeah, that's not going to be one that PTA directs. Might be the other Paul Anderson might direct that one.
No. I think Paul W.S. Anderson should now rush release his Phantom Thread.
Yeah, but then it will not star Daniel Day-Lewis. It will star... Who would it star?
No, literally, just get some no-name to D-Pole change his name to Daniel Day-Lewis.
Jim Sturgis is Daniel Day-Lewis as Phantom
you could do
Thread.
You could do what they did with the sort of the fake Bruce Lees in the years that came after his death, and
That's
just
very
have
good.
like slightly different names. So Daniel Dave Lewis, Daniel Day Lewis,
Dave Daniel Lewis.
Yeah. Darren Day Lewis.
The fact that he's got
strong.
The fact that he's got three names just opens up a whole world of possibilities there, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. So I mean, we'll talk about Phantom Thread on the show, obviously. I'm betting it's 2.5 hours, and we'll see how that goes.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
Either of you see the new trailer for Bright, the Will Smith Netflix one?
Yeah, looks a little bit mental.
Do you know what? I've got a bit of a weird thing with this Bright, because it's like they've had a couple of trailers for it, and I don't give a shit about the trailers. I think it's just because I know it's Netflix. I see that a new trailer's arrived for it, and I'm just like, I'll just fucking put it on. Just fucking put it on. Like, I don't need to see trailers. I'll watch it.
The weird thing is about Bright is it's kind of like it's basically Netflix Christmas movie for you, because they're releasing it like Christmas week, aren't they?
The 22nd of December, Friday the 22nd. This comes out on Netflix
because so far I think it's the biggest budget Netflix movie.
It's like $100 million.
Yeah,
it's mental. Like what?
Which is insane. You know, it's a Will Smith, Joel Edgerton starring David Ayer movie that they're releasing at Christmas that just looks a little bit fucking mental.
As I said when the first trailer came out, Friday the 22nd is my last day from at work before some time off, and I am looking forward to 10 o'clock-ish at night with some beers, settling in for Christmas, and watching this fucker.
Yeah, I will no doubt be at work that day and the day after. So I will be. The 22nd is a Friday, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I will be at work that. That is the weekend before Christmas, so that could be an insane couple of days for me. But I am looking forward to getting home at 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, and going, right, I am back at work in 10 hours. Let's have this wash over me.
Yeah,
it's kind of it's almost like it's the type of film that I'd like to skip my Christmas do to watch, if that was possible. If somebody said you can not go to your Christmas do and watch this, would you like to do that? I would say yes. Can I do that, please?
Is that a day your Christmas do?
Yeah, just as opposed to going my Christmas if I could avoid my Christmas do and watch Bright instead on Netflix at home, comfort of my own home, with a bag of beer and some crisps, then that would suit me just fine. I wouldn't need a Christmas do.
Talking about bags and stuff, what I will say is when I went to see Geostorm, slight tangent here today.
I'm enjoying this.
I've got into a habit, right, of when I'm going to the cinema now, of if it's for something a little bit stupid like Geostorm or just something that's just pure entertainment value, that's not got any weighty merit to it. I've started buying a bag of Maltesers, but they're £4, and it's not even that big a bag.
Shit.
Fuck off.
It's £4. £4 for a bag of Maltesers. So today I did something that I haven't done in a long, long fucking time.
Did you steal a bag of Maltesers?
I snuck in my own bag of sweets. Went to the Tesco on the corner from me on my way to the cinema and bought a bag of Maltesers that's the same size as the bag you get in the cinema, and they were £1. And I hid them in my inside pocket, thinking, I don't know why I'm hiding them, because if they went, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to bring outside food in, my response would be, fuck off. And they'd still take my money and let me in the cinema because I go like twice a week. But yeah, I then got in, looked round and got out my Maltesers, took off the fucking wrapper and put them in my cup holder and sat there and went, yes, I am a badass.
Cinemas are fucking ridiculous. Sorry. Yeah.
I don't even worry about it. I mean, I need to get out of the habit of bringing beer to the cinema because it's not a good thing. It's having a beer in the cinema has turned into a bit of a thing for me, and actually, it's a bad thing because it makes me worry about needing the toilet, and then it makes me need the toilet, and then if I do have a few beers, I'm not quite as kind to the movies that I'm watching because I get a bit crotchety.
That's why I can't drink and watch a movie.
Yeah, I think I'm going to knock that on the head myself, actually. I think from now on, I mean, my routine at the moment is Snyder's pretzel pieces and a couple of beers. I might switch out the beers just for one bottle of Coke, and then I'll be good to go. I get Snyder's pretzel pieces, that's all you need, £1.30.
I get a latte and a bag of Maltesers. So now I'll be taking my bag of Maltesers in because I'm not fucking buying it there, and still have my latte, which I don't drink till there's an hour left of the movie. So it's usually depending on how long the fucking movie is.
Is it not cold?
No, because it's ridiculously hot when it's fucking poured. So it's usually, don't get me wrong, it's no longer hot. It's kind of warmish, but I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I only want it for the caffeine. It's a cinema fucking coffee, it ain't that fucking great.
Oh, yeah, true. Fair enough.
Sorry, trailers, yeah.
I think that was it for me anyway, so any more for any more?
I watched a couple of really random trailers. I saw the trailer for Too Funny to Fail, which looks quite interesting, which is the documentary about the Dana Carvey show and sort of why it failed. It's been made for Hulu, so I don't know how we'll get it or if we'll get it anytime soon. But so basically it's about how essentially Dana Carvey was really at the top of his game following Wayne's World, and they decided to give him his own show, and he roped in some other comedians and writers to do this show. And the names included Steve Carell, Louis C.K., Stephen Colbert, a couple of other, Charlie Kaufman. So there were a lot of like high profile names attached to it, and the show kind of failed spectacularly. And I think kind of they're retconning it now as if to say, oh well, it was kind of ahead of its time, and it was maybe a bit too daring for its time. So I'm kind of interested, actually. I'm kind of interested to see it and see what the show was and see if it was ahead of its time or if they're just saying that now to get a fucking documentary out of it. So yeah, that looks moderately interesting if we do actually get it. And also on a similar tip, I can't remember the name of it, but the Netflix Jim Carrey documentary about the making of Man on the Moon.
Jim and Andy.
Oh, yeah, it's out in a few weeks, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that looks interesting because I don't know, it almost looks a bit like it could go down a sort of I'm still here sort of road. It's about Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman and how much of a prick he was during that time. And apparently the studio suppressed a lot of the footage a lot of the behind the scenes footage that was being produced because they didn't want everybody to think that Jim Carrey was a massive prick. Jim Carrey was embodying the role in the same way that Andy Kaufman embodied his role and the same way that Andy Kaufman was a prick to everybody around him, apparently. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. And the trailer's quite a good trailer as well, because you've kind of got a talking head of Jim Carrey, and they're just sort of asking him, why should this film have been made, and that type of thing, and his reactions are quite good. So again, definitely curious about it. So yeah, looking forward to that. The only other thing I watched is, I say I watched it, actually. I think I probably switched it off about halfway through. I couldn't make it through the full 10 minutes. But I saw the title and I just needed to know. When you just see the name of a film and you're like, I just need to know. I just need to see. I just need to know what this is and why it exists. Snake Out of Compton.
Right.
Yeah. It's a sort of hip-hop disaster movie in which a giant snake, a pet snake grows into a giant snake and attacks the city of Compton. It might be like an asylum thing or something. I don't know. I got about halfway through it and sort of realized exactly what it was and thought it's kind of like Sub-Wayans. It's Sub-Wayans. So yeah, won't be. I couldn't even make it through the 2.5 minute trailer. So
well, I mean, a Haunted House 2 is a high watermark there, bud. So Sub-Wayans could still be pretty good.
Well, watch the trailer. Let me know what you think.
Okay.
If you can make it through. Yeah.
No, I don't think
that's why I watch nothing of note. I only watch trailers for fucking random shit.
It's very good. Okay, so Mark, anything else?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
Okay, so here we go then. So, US listeners, apologies. Marvel being Marvel and their weird release schedule, Thor Ragnarok's not out for you guys for another week yet. So, yeah. So you might want to skip ahead because we are all spoilers all the time. Even though I will say I think the film is fairly weightless and not an awful lot happens in the great scheme of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So there's that. But here we go. Thor Ragnarok is directed by Taika Waititi and stars Chris Hemsworth, Kate Blanchett and her wandering accent. It stars Taika Waititi himself as Crom, a CG monster. It stars Mark Ruffalo as a CG monster and Mark Ruffalo. It stars Tessa Thompson as an alcoholic. It stars Jeff Goldblum as Jeff Goldblum. Who else does it star? It stars
Carl Urban.
It stars Carl Urban as
Idris Elba.
He's put on a bit of weight. It stars Idris Elba as I very much want to be a bigger part in these films.
He's put on a bit of dreadlock.
He has put on a bit of dreadlock.
He's put on a lot of dreadlock. I don't know what the time is between this and Thor: The Dark World, but yeah, I mean he's got like 10 years worth of dreadlocks there. That he had a skinhead in Thor Ragnarok. So in Thor: The Dark World. Just saying.
Oh, and Tom Hiddleston also stars as Greasy. So for Ragnarok, it's a film which is about Ragnarok occurring, which is the destruction of Asgard, and Thor wants to stop it, and he has to battle Hela, a new villain played by Kate Blanchett, who's his sister, even though it matters not a fucking jot. I sound like I hate it. And Thor gets stranded on a planet where he meets Hulk, and he has a fight with Hulk, and Jeff Goldblum's there, and things happen. I'm not explaining it very well. I liked Thor Ragnarok, but I'm already wary about the fact that people seem to be saying it's the best Marvel film since the last one, which happens every single time a Marvel film comes out. I'm going to throw it to Noel, our comic book correspondent, who has many thoughts.
I have many thoughts. Just first of all, the laughing at your American listeners, just to give that a bit of context. I grew up in the 1980s where Americans got movies about 6 months before us. So
no, very much.
Why,
it's revenge, and it's also October.
It's revenge.
It's October half term. It did exactly the same with Doctor Strange. It's just the peculiarities of the education system.
It's only a week, and to be fair, as well as you know, Ian, I thought it was out next week up until about a week or so ago when you mentioned it on WhatsApp. So I was like, fuck, yes, that's brilliant. So, so, I mean, as I say, my anticipation for this film was extremely high. I think probably my anticipation for this film was probably higher than a lot of, I think it was, my anticipation for this was higher than Spider-Man Homecoming.
You've been pumped for a bit. You've been pumped for a bit.
Yeah, it was higher than Guardians 2. It was higher than Doctor Strange. I'd say it was possibly even maybe higher than Civil War. I don't know. I mean, of the sort of, of the sort of Phase 3 movies, I think this has been the one that I've been looking forward to the most. So I think what I was looking forward to the most about it was the fact that it, for a long time I've been saying I really want Marvel and comic book movies generally to trust their audiences a little bit and just say, look, these are the characters, who they are, and now here they are in this situation. They're being painted with a different brush. The tone is slightly different, but don't worry about it. They're still the people that you know and love. This is just a different story. And here we go. Strap yourself in, enjoy the ride. Don't get too hung up on everything needing to connect to everything and everything to feel like it's in the same universe and, painted with the same palette. The trailer and the trailers for this really, really promised that and sort of said, look, we're balls out here. Let's go for it. And so, I think my expectation was high because of that. I think it lives up to that. I think it lives up to the fact that it is a Marvel movie that is pushing into a different area and is less concerned with the rule book than previous Marvel movies have been. I think it's very telling that and very interesting that Marvel is slackening the reins a little bit. And I think it's very clear that they realize that perhaps that tone and set of brand guidelines that they've had throughout phases 1 and 2, I think they've started to realize that people are cracking onto it a little bit and people are wanting something a little bit different. Very much feels to me like Age of Ultron was a bit of a learning curve for them, and they were a little bit like, we don't want to do another Age of Ultron. So I think this lives up to that. It has a completely different tone to a lot of other Marvel movies. It has a completely different tone. I mean, an astoundingly different tone to Thor: The Dark World, which I actually rewatched recently. Funnily enough, I rewatched the first half of Thor: The Dark World. Then I went to see Ragnarok. Then I watched the second half of Thor: The Dark World. So the difference in tone is very, very apparent to me. So I think it definitely does that. It pushes into new areas. That makes me appreciate it for what it's doing for comic book movies. And it makes me appreciate what Marvel is now willing to do. Unfortunately, I found myself for the first 20 minutes, half an hour of the movie, trying to really force myself to get on board with the humor and struggling with it a little bit because I don't think it was as funny as it thought it was. And that's not a good place to start off when you sort of, it kind of makes you against the film a little bit when you're just like, all right, chill out. You're not as funny as you think you are. It picked the humor balanced out a little bit when one actor in particular turned up, which I'm sure we'll get onto. But generally speaking, it was just a bit too many jokes for me. And overall, we'll get into more detail, but I think overall, while I appreciate what it's doing, and while I appreciate that it will, pay off, this gamble will pay off, and we will get more diverse Marvel movies in the future as a result. While I appreciate all that, I don't feel like Taika Waititi was necessarily an established enough storyteller to take on something as epic as this. It felt quite patchy. It flipped around from place to place and didn't really feel like it had a strong direction. I think there were big sections of the film that just didn't hang together for me with what was going on in the wider picture. And that felt like the result of being in the hands of a filmmaker who was very, very comfortable with getting the gags in there, very, very comfortable with letting his lead actor have a good time and come across as humorous on screen, but maybe wasn't quite experienced enough to rein in a decent, epic story, which is what, Ragnarok is supposed to be. It's supposed to be the end of days for Asgard. And I just don't feel like that was handled very well, to be honest. So I have a lot of thoughts.
Mark?
Right. Well, again, I do say so when we sort of do these, I'm sort of the least kind of invested in the MCU of all of us. And it's one of those things now where I will watch the Marvel movies, and I watch them, and I kind of enjoy most of them, to be honest. But if Disney came out tomorrow and said, do you know what, we're done, we can't be fucked with it anymore, we're stopping making them, it wouldn't bother me.
Could you imagine, just for a second, could you imagine
what Kevin Feige wandering out on stage going, yeah, we can't be fucked.
Right?
You know those next 6 movies we said we're going to do? We can't be yeah. We're going to do some Adam Sandler movies instead.
If they did, it wouldn't bother me. I
would contribute to a Kickstarter for that to happen, just to see what the reaction on the internet would be. Fuck, that would be brilliant.
I'm not invested enough in the story. If it's being told in front of me, I will watch it and I'll get on board with it. I'll enjoy it. But I just don't care. And part of that is the reason is that I'm not invested in I've not read the comic books. And I'm not aware of where these stories could go, might go, or can go, or will go. So that's part of it, and it's why the fact that with yourself, Noel, you're looking at it from a different point of view from me, and I can absolutely see that. Whereas with Thor Ragnarok, I went to it going, I just want to have a good time, and for the most part, I did have a good time. It's weird that the fact that it is a straight up fucking comedy movie that also has a bit of action in it. And is a little bit like a sci-fi thing. They've taken it very much is. They've gone right. People loved Guardians, and it was funny and a little bit out there. And it was very, very good as well. That's a key point of that. Is it was very good. People didn't like Age of Ultron, and if we're all admitting it and going back to it now, part of the reason why I didn't like it is because it's a bit shit.
Yeah, it is.
It's shit. There's no getting away from it. Age of Ultron is shit. So what we're going to do is we're going to retcon that with Captain America Civil War, which is basically just the Avengers 2.5. And they're going to do that. But it seems almost like they're going to go, right, what we're going to do is the main thrust of the stories, so essentially the Avengers stories, the Avengers movies. So the next one is Infinity, isn't it? Infinity War. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It seems like what they're going to do is they go, right, there is going to be our serious movie. They're going to be our fucking serious movies that we're going to give you that are going to have a lot of heavy kind of plot and a lot of... They're not going to have as much of this playfulness that things like the Guardians movies have had and Thor here has had. And then they're going to do almost like almost like subgenre picks with the other movies. So you've got Spider-Man was quite kind of like, it was a little bit like a teen movie. It was John Hughesy at points. And Thor Ragnarok is just a comedy fucking movie. And I'm kind of fine with that. And I enjoyed it. And it was fun. But I could see why it could piss other people off a lot.
The thing is, just to say, you know, with what they're doing with Infinity War, I think you're right. They've got one eye on that, and they're saying, okay, this is our big one. Infinity War parts 1 and 2, or whatever part 2 ends up being called. Those are our big serious ones. Those are our big game changers. That's when shit is really going to fall apart and everybody's going to come out different the other side. Now, that's fine. But what it feels like to me is, first of all, don't announce Thor Ragnarok and then have to deliver Thor Ragnarok if what you're saying is the Avengers Avengers Infinity War is going to be your big, world falls apart situation. Because, I mean, and this is not about comic books and stories that I'm particularly attached to in Thor the comic book. Ragnarok is the idea that the world of the gods is completely destroyed. Now, it feels like what's happened is they got the idea in their head to do that, and then they got Taika Waititi on board, and then they thought, oh shit, no, let's also make it Planet Hulk. And then they thought, oh, also let's make it a comedy. And it's like, whoa, hang on a minute. You started out by doing one thing, and you've gone down a completely different road here because you've got one eye on the Avengers. Just don't make Thor Ragnarok. You want to make Planet Hulk, make Planet Hulk. If you want to make a comedy movie, okay, make a comedy movie. But if you're going to have something that promises to be as epic an idea as this, perhaps it needs to be in the hands of someone who can think a bit bigger and isn't just going to be focused on getting the gags out.
Well, I don't know how much you know about the business side of it, Noel, and I appreciate. I apologise if I'm Noel-splaining. And stop, please, genuinely stop me if I am. But the reason why they haven't
wouldn't you be Ian's splaining?
Actually, I suppose I would be Ian's splaining. Sorry, yeah. So forgive me if I am. But the reason why they haven't done a Planet Hulk film is because Universal.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. I know. But in name only. Like, they couldn't do a Planet Hulk movie in name only. But we all know that this is what they're going for here.
100%. But I mean, like, they can't do a film where Hulk is the lead.
Is the lead? No, not at all. And they wouldn't have to. I'm just saying that they could have, because basically what we've got here, and this is what I'm saying about sections not hanging together.
Which I agree with 100%. I just want to say that's my main problem with the film. Sorry, yes.
There's a section in the middle there when they get to, it's not even in the middle, I think it's kind of in the sort of first act, I think, late in the first act. The section where they actually get to Sakaar and Hulk and Thor have had their fight. And then there's a whole bit after that where they're just sort of lingering around in Hulk's bedroom.
Yeah.
And it's all a bit like, what's going on here? Like, what? And it's clear that they're like, oh, no, we want to introduce a buddy cop element to it, like a buddy movie element to it. And it's like, you've got enough going on to think about it. It's just, let's get them off this fucking planet and get Ragnarok going.
I got to say, the thing that has troubled me a little bit with the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a while now is the fact that a lot of these films are, for a lot of their portions, trying to be funny. And Civil War didn't have that as much. It had elements of it, but it was also, this is a film about sins of the past and people who were together being torn apart. Great. And for me, Civil War, the best Marvel film. There's a lot of them now. I think there's like 18 or something, but it's one of the top ones for me, personally. But now, Doctor Strange has a fair bit of funny in it. I mean, fuck, it's got the Beyonce shit in it as well. So, Spider-Man Homecoming, understand it because it's the character. Guardians, understand it because it's the characters again. And now you got this where it's not the characters. And when you were saying about For the Dark World being a completely different film, to me it kind of feels like they're completely different fucking characters.
That is it. There is a big shift in the character of Thor. He's become essentially he's gone from being unaware of his humour to being just intentionally funny.
So,
it works in the Avengers when he once says he was adopted, but when every second line is a gag, it's like, I am watching a different character now. You've turned him into Tony Stark.
Yeah, I mean, the original Thor, I need a horse, is amazing, but his character is not saying that in a funny way. Just the way Hemsworth delivers that, great. It's not his character not trying to be funny. But yeah, like you say, I mean, right at the start, it's you might be wondering how I got here, and the whole kind of like, you're going to have to wait for me to turn back round.
Yes.
And it just like...
I feel like I've seen that somewhere before as well.
I don't know, it's just the fact that they do it twice. And
but do you know what? Do you know what? I liked that they did it twice. I was hoping they'd do it twice. I was going, they've got to do this again. They've got to do this again.
I don't know. There were moments of the humour that worked, but what Noel was saying again earlier on about, YTT doing something this epic, I think it does result in the patchiness. It's unfortunately, he's obviously far more in love with certain parts of the film than he is with others. And that is definitely a detriment. But you've also got weird shit like the introduction to the Grandmaster, where it's literally like 10 seconds until you meet the Grandmaster, and it's got the song from Willy Wonka in the background. It's like, as an individual bit, this is awesome. The Jeff Goldblum stuff, as individual bits, great. Some of the interactions between Thor and Hulk, individual bits, brilliant. Tessa Thompson's introduction, badass, then falls off the thing pissed. Solid individual bit. It's a film of solid, really great individual bits, which are interspersed by bits that really aren't great and just feel like they have to be there because story.
And it is. I will say, I'm not against, like, this is the thing. I'm not looking for everything to be serious. I mean, I've said many times, I do think the quippiness of comic book movies generally is getting too much, and it needs to be reined in a little bit. Yeah. But I'm not saying that I don't want that at all. I mean, I get that it's popular, and I get that it can work sometimes. It's just when you look at what James Gunn's done with both the Guardians of the Galaxy films, he's made witty, funny movies that were based around the fact that this bunch of characters have kind of come together. But the important thing is that he wrapped them in a space opera that was really well put together and really good stuff. I mean, especially Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It's got a plot. It's got a story. Like, it's got a really good story. So you can wrap those jokes in that. It can work. It's just... like, I'm not against them just taking characters and going, all right, this is what I've always said. Comic books, by definition, are a character that's painted by a different hand in every issue, pretty much. So you get a new issue, it's painted by a different guy, it's written by a different person, but you know who the character is, so you either get on board with that particular story and that particular tone, or you don't. And I'm happy for I want comic books to do that. I want Marvel and DC to trust their audiences and let that happen. And I think this is a good film to help make that happen because it's going to be a success. But I don't think this is the best example of it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all, because as a film, it doesn't work.
I am concerned. Like, the thing is, I'm not a massive comic fan. I like comic book films. I'm not a massive comic fan. I'm already quite worried that Infinity War is going to try and be funny when you kind of want it to be. This is end of days shit, like you say with Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And they're going to have quippy.
See, I don't think they will. I think they're...
God, I hope not.
I think they'll... I mean, obviously, it's not Civil War. It's on a much grander scale, but I think they'd be making a huge mistake if they if they started bogging it down in jokes. I don't think they will. I think they're quite serious about the Infinity War films generally. So, and it's the Russos as well. So, it's they're going to ground it a little bit. I think. I'm hopeful that they don't.
Yeah. No. I mean, so am I. I don't know. The thing is I really, really enjoyed my time with it. I thought it was a really fun film, and Crom was the shit. I don't want him to be in any other Marvel films, and I'm a little bit worried that he might be. The fucking reaction in my screening to that guy. I don't know about you two.
The Rock guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People were fucking eating him up, and his thing about trying to start a revolution, but he didn't have enough pamphlets was gold. Absolute gold. That is the fucking funniest thing I've heard in I don't know how long. And I think Waititi plays him well. I want him to just be in this film, and it's not because I didn't like him. It's because I could see him being another baby Groot or something. And I don't want that to happen.
I'd be happy for him to I don't think we'll see him again. What I could see us seeing is in a Guardians or something like that, them walking past him and him saying hello and trying to hand him a pamphlet or something like that. Oh, yeah, I could see something like that happening.
Yeah, I'd take that. That's
Yeah. So and I've got to say as well. I mean, this film is already quite long. It's already quite overstuffed. You've got to have a villain. We'll get to the villain. Did we really need to have Loki?
Can I just voice? I don't get the love for Loki that people have. I
did, but I'm not. I think now it's where they're wearing it very, very thin now.
What, he's been in 4, 5 movies.
The 3-4 films and the Avengers. That's it,
and then
isn't
this. It's 4, yeah. Has he not been in
he's not been in anything else now.
Right. So he's been in 4 movies then. That's too much. It's too much Loki. He doesn't need to crop up in it. I'm the same. I was a little bit like.
To be fair, he's been in less than a quarter of the MCU films.
But it's still
the thing is, we didn't need him. We didn't need him here because it was another. They wanted to have a buddy element, and they already had that in Hulk.
Yeah,
they already had that in Banner. So having Loki there just complicates things because it means you've got to go through the whole process of can he be trusted, can he not be trusted? We've done that dance so many times that it just feels like this is another situation where no, you can't trust Loki, but you can trust him in this situation because things are serious now. And I just feel like we've done that dance a couple of times now, and it's worn itself thin.
I will say I like the fact that they resolved the end of 4-2 quite quickly, where it was just like Thor fucking knows it's Loki. It's like,
yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that, and it was good to see Anthony Hopkins kind of just playing another version of Odin for 2 minutes. And I also very much enjoyed the callback to him seeing Hulk and being, oh fuck. And then when he smashes Thor about being like, yes, and just like now he knows how it feels. I enjoyed that just because that film was literally 5 years ago, and I like the fact that in the MCU it was probably like 10 films ago, and they call back to that. I just kind of thought, yeah, all right, fair play. Can we get on to Blanchett? Or just mention her in brief, because that's kind of all that character deserves.
I thought she was all right, and I liked her. I liked her. And I'm usually not the big, as is explored in the podcast. I'm usually not a big Cate Blanchett fan, but I think her hamminess that she has worked in this quite well.
She does fuck all.
But that's a Marvel villain. All the Marvel villains do fuck all.
Yeah, I definitely liked her. I could have definitely have done with more of her. But my complaints about sections of the film overstaying their welcome when they needed to get back to Ragnarok, it all ties into that. I would have happily taken more Cate Blanchett. I feel like she would have happily chewed up the scenery a little bit more had she been given the opportunity to. I think, there's there was a lot of stuff that was in the. I liked her. I liked her slinkiness. I think she looked stunning. Like, she looked gorgeous.
She did look stunning.
With the hair down.
Yeah,
oh my! That good look.
But there was, there wasn't enough of her bringing Ragnarok, and a lot of the stuff that was promised in the trailers we kind of got, but that Valkyrie stuff that was in the trailer that looked so beautiful and worked so well when it scored next to Led Zeppelin, as most things do. I would have killed for more of that, but it was instead, in the actual context of the film, it was a flashback. It was short, and it didn't have a kick-ass Led Zeppelin track over it. So it just all the Ragnarok of it, all the potential for beautiful Valkyrie sections that look like they've been hand painted was gone because we've got to get back to the jokes on this planet.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that. Certainly, I like the character. I think we quite easily could have had more of it, but it is a problem that Marvel have with their villains. They're always a bit shit.
I mean, she was better than Christopher Eccleston. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Christopher Eccleston, I think, was the fucking nadir of the Marvel villains, to be honest.
Yeah, literally, he couldn't have been screaming more. I'm getting paid for this. It doesn't mean to say I have to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, quite. Just not a fucking ounce of personality to that. And I appreciate that Blanchett has that. It just, she either needed to be on screen less or on screen more. And I can't really decide which one of those it was. And the thing, also, I don't know, just if she had the accent she had in the trailers, I think that would have been more interesting. Like this, she's just a bit regal and pompous, and in that she just had a bit more, I don't know.
Snarl.
Yeah. And I mean, Carl Urban, it's weird that Carl Urban was playing that role. It kind of just feels like they shot it in Australia. He was at home. Like, Chris Hemsworth fucking probably just WhatsApped him and said, "What are you doing for a couple of weeks? Do you want to look a bit sad while you kill some people?" And, yeah, why not? It just... Blanchett and Urban actually physically do fuck all. They make... Like, she makes some speeches... He looks a bit apprehensive about stuff.
Yep.
And, that's about it. And I don't know, man. I mean, like, Carl Urban, in interviews for Star Trek Beyond, he was saying about, like, thinking twice about coming back for Star Trek Beyond after Into Darkness because he got fuck all to do. And it was like, did he read this script and go, "Oh, yeah, I've got a fucking character I can play there"?
Yeah. I'm going to be in one Marvel movie.
Yeah, I'm going to be in one Marvel film. I'm going to play the second fiddle. I mean, like, Carl Urban could easily... he could easily be the villain in a B-tier Marvel film.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not even like Marvel pays that well either.
No, that's the thing. I mean, like, he'd probably think it was a fucking fortune. And I appreciate that Cate Blanchett is willing to do something like this because, I think that there is a stuffiness about this whole thing. And, when Robert Redford was the bad guy in Captain America the Winter Soldier, I think that was quite a big deal. And I think it's a big deal that Cate Blanchett is doing this. But I don't know. I just wish she was better. And the whole thing about being the sister, just...
Yeah, they've added that. That's not... I don't believe that's don't believe that's ever been the case. I might be wrong.
Because I mean, like in all the kind of the flashback stuff, it's almost like she's just like Odin's general who gets ideas above her station, and it is like, is that not enough? Why does she have to be a sister?
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it is a bit of a disappointment, and again, it is because a fucking pre-release hype was this is the best Marvel film since the last Marvel film, so get ready, and I fucking fell for it. And What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Wilder People, I think, are 2 5 out of 5 films. And
yeah, absolutely.
This is a film where Waititi has basically, within Marvel Studios constraints, has made his film. And again, I applaud Marvel for letting directors do what they want to do. But I kind of think that maybe Waititi's style doesn't quite, like you said at the start, Noel, doesn't quite gel with the overall Marvel way of storytelling.
No, and I mean, it's interesting that, Marvel more than anybody else are in the most difficult position when it comes to negotiating the outside of the brand guidelines of this sort of fixed universe that they've created for themselves. They're in a difficult position to do that. So the fact that they're pushing into new areas is great. I think that's fueled by, as I say, what James Gunn's been able to do. It's also fueled by outside influences like what's happened with Logan and Deadpool. They are willing to take it to a new place, but I think it's quite telling that, with this, they want to take Thor to a new visual place. So what are they doing? All right, well, we'll go into space. Guardians of the Galaxy, we're going to space. Avengers 3 and 4, we're going to space. Captain Marvel, a high percentage of that is probably going to be in space. Even Black Panther, it's set on Earth, but it's set in a secret part of Earth, which is this sort of unique futuristic environment, which is sort of not of this Earth in a way. They're going to struggle when they need to do, if they go too far down that rabbit hole, they're going to struggle when they need to do a new Ant-Man, when they need to do Ant-Man and the Wasp, for example, because that's going to go back. Suddenly Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to feel like a Phase 2 movie again, when all of their Phase 3 stuff is going off in wacky different directions. So I think, they've got a bit of a job on their hands. I'm glad that they're trying to branch out, but I think they need to be careful how they do that, and I don't think jokes are the way to do it. I mean, the Doctor Strange bit, honestly, I found that brutal. Like,
that was shit.
I really found that brutal. It felt like that was a complete. I mean, Thor, as you say, Ian, felt like a different character. That Doctor Strange section, the whole thing just felt like I was watching a cartoon for a minute. It was very odd.
I did enjoy the one cut where suddenly Thor was just rolling down the stairs, just because there was no context to how that happened. Even though I enjoyed one shot. I really need a wee. If you guys want to talk amongst yourselves, feel free, but I'm about to piss myself.
Well, I don't know. I'll just say I agree with you, Ian. I think it's a film that has many good moments. I sound like I hated it. I didn't hate it. I had there's a lot about it that I enjoyed, but I don't think it hung together enough, and I don't think it's as ambitious on the Ragnarok side of things as it should have been, because it was far too busy focusing on the gags.
Do you know what I had 2 major issues with it were?
Go on.
One, it cost $180 million, and yet you could see that Thor had his eye closed.
Also, the fight scene of Hela's fight scene, the CG in that was very, very Daredevil, the director's cut.
Yeah, it was actually quite, yeah.
It was very, rough around the edges, that.
And my other problem is there seemed to be more of the score for the movie in the trailers than the actual fucking movie.
That's true.
Because the score for the movie seemed to just be play Led Zeppelin twice.
And it never committed to that. There was a whole there was a whole Canon Films vibe to the movie that I got.
Yeah,
and I think the score could have emphasised that, and it wouldn't necessarily have been a bad thing. But what they did instead is they just had very, very little moments. They had a very traditional score, but then they just had little moments where a few little digital bits crept in the background and then went away.
Came in.
Yeah, and then
but they're quite heavy in the trailer.
Exactly,
and then it's just not in the rest of it, which was kind of annoying because I was really looking forward to that score.
Yeah,
and then it didn't happen. It was just a bit. Yeah, they're my chief complaints. The fact that you could see his fucking eye, and the almost what seemed to me like a complete lack of fucking score.
One final point is in this world where we're handing the keys over to Taika Waititi and letting him do his gags and bring his style to it, kind of makes you think that if Edgar Wright's Ant-Man was being made now, it just would have been made without a hitch.
Yeah, I think it probably would have been, but whether or not that'd be a good thing, I don't know.
Well, we don't know. We'll never know. But yeah,
on that. But it does seem like they're allowing certain things to go. They're letting things go in a certain way. I think also as well. I think this is a little bit. I think part of this could be driven by Hemsworth wanting to take Thor in a different direction, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he already said he was quite bored of it, kind of going in, and he was looking for something different. Yeah, sorry, I just kind of barreled in there. Apologies.
No, that's no problem. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not sure. I thought it was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think I'm not going to say it's the best Marvel film or anything like that. But I did enjoy it. And I laughed enough, but I could see why it would grate on other people.
Yep, same.
I think I just came away from it feeling a little bit hollow, and for that reason, I'm probably gonna say I'm touching cloth. I think I'm touching cloth. So yeah, I felt a bit hollow leaving the cinema, and on the way home, I had a thought that popped into my head, and I was like, this thought that popped into my head was, oh, Justice League next. And I just thought, oh God,
yeah.
So I think I'm touching cloth, and I'm gutted to say that, but there we go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not shit, though I am disappointed. More because Taika Waititi himself than anything else. But fuck, man, just be less than 2 hours. There's padding. There's padding you could take out. Take out Loki.
Yeah.
Take out Anthony Hopkins. I mean, yeah, his character literally kind of like makes Kate Blanchett come into it, but still.
2 hours 10 is the runtime that you would want if you were making an epic comic book movie about the fall of Asgard and the death of the gods and blah, 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 blah. In other words, it's the kind of runtime you would want if you were making Thor Ragnarok. So they had the runtime, they had the title, but they just didn't deliver the Ragnarok. So they've only themselves to blame.
Well,
not that they'll care, because everybody thinks it's fucking amazing anyway. It's the new Blade Runner.
The audience poll was definitely not shit 64%, touching cloth 14%, and shit 22%.
Oh, okay.
Very good. Okay, Wheelman. Got a feeling we might be a bit more consensus on this. Directed by Jeremy Rush, written by him as well. Produced by Frank Grillo and Joe Carnahan, starring Frank Grillo.
It's the first film of their production company, isn't it?
Oh shit! What's it called?
Yeah, it's the War Party.
War Party.
Oh yeah.
Solid.
They had a really good. Yeah, they had a really good. Ident actually.
Ident, they did. Yeah.
Oh, they did.
They had a good music. Yeah.
Wheelman. It's Frank Grillo, Garrett Dillahunt, etc. So It's basically Frank Grillo in a car for 85 minutes, which is fine. He is a driver for some underhanded type folks, and gets kind of caught in a kind of tug of war between East and West Coast mafias. And he's kind of set up, but it's not really setting him up. It's more setting other parties up, and he's, like I say, caught in the crossfire. Has to deal with an estranged wife and his daughter as well, and has to try and make it out alive. Mark, I'll throw it to you this time. What do you think of Wheelman, man?
It's a really enjoyable genre pick, to be honest. It's the sort of thing that I'd maybe be a little bit like, right, was that it? If I went to see it at the cinema, but it's not made for cinema. It's a film that's been made with VOD and Netflix, I think, in mind, absolutely, and that kind of makes sense for it. It's a genre pick. It sets out its stall quite early on by having I think the opening credits are very reminiscent of with the yellow of the opening credits of Taxi Driver.
It was quite cum-worthy, I thought. Quite cum-worthy.
Yeah, it's very nice. I think it goes in, gets its shit done, and gets the fuck out in a right amount of time. It's about 84 minutes long or something like that, and that's how long this movie should be. Frank Grillo is good in it, like the fact that he's a bit of a dick, which kind of works out quite well. If you're having Cher Wiggum in anything, that's always going to work out quite well, even though he's in it and then gone. But yeah, I had a great time with it. It's a lot of fun. It's tense, and it gets the fuck out of pulses racing and gets its shit done.
Very good. No.
Fabulous. I was conned into watching this film because I thought it was a comic book movie about a comic book character I'd never heard of called Wheelman.
Very good.
That's not true. I loved it. Really, really loved it. As I said to you, Ian, the other day, to both of you actually on WhatsApp, it dragged me right in straight away. I really like these kind of self-contained sort of thrillers that you get where just something's unfolding and it's a lot of people on mobile phones trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. So, something like Buried or Cell or something like that, Cellular. So I do love this type of thing. I like a bit of Frank Grillo. I think he plays it bang on here. And I just loved the way it was just, you knew it was going to go down wrong, and then you were going to have to sort of piece together what it is that had happened. And I just loved that part of it. I watched the first half of it on the train, and I was fully like immersed, like I was dragged right into it. Loved it. Really, really loved it.
Sweet. Okay. I have a great deal of time for this film. Cum-worthy titles, as I say. And yeah, I was ever so slightly disappointed when he got out the car, to be honest.
There was a little bit of me that was a little bit like, I was kind of hoping that we'd just get him all in the car, but I can see why they did it.
Yeah, I mean, the third act, I thought, had some interesting stuff where, it's following his daughter for a few minutes. And, I thought that was a really strong angle where it's not just like, at the start, the daughter's like calling, it's just like, just letting you know I'm going out, blah. You're not going out. Yes, I am. You can't tell me what to do. It was a bit like, oh, fuck's sake. But then the daughter is introduced and she's actually a really strong character, and she fronts up for her dad. And I appreciate that. I'd like to think of how our daughters got us into, if we were in jams in future years, our daughters would get us out of them. And maybe not in this way, but
Well, the last I saw of my daughter, she's downstairs now, and as I came upstairs, she had a piece of cucumber in her ear. So I can't. That's not something I can picture right now.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah. I had to con my daughter into falling asleep tonight, which was fun. I told her if she doesn't go to sleep, Mario is not going to be here tomorrow.
Oh. You do whatever you can. You do whatever you need to do.
But yeah, I mean, like, fuck, it sounds horrible, but it's like if you don't have kids, you don't know how it is. You'll fucking tell them anything. Just, please go to sleep. Like, if you go to sleep, I'll fucking chisel a fucking unicorn horn into a real life horse tomorrow. Just fucking go to sleep. Anyway. I
will say there's one character that I felt quite bad for, and that was Ryan. Felt quite bad for Ryan because he obviously got blue-balled by Frank Grillo by being told to go home at 9 o'clock. He actually did go home at 9 o'clock, and he was bloody well needed.
That was a good little twist, actually. I enjoyed that. It was just like...
Yeah, he went home. It's gone 9 o'clock.
Yeah. No,
to be fair, if I was Ryan and Frank Grillo asked me to go home at 9 o'clock, I would literally have set my iPhone for 8:59 and then
8:59.
Bang, right, I've got to go. Well, just they won't know. I can't risk that. I'm going to leave at precisely 9. Can you open the door? He might know. He said 9.
He might have body heat sensors in here. I don't know. I need to leave. No, yeah. So yeah, I mean, the action, it all looks practical. I'm sure, like Joe Carnahan has said, it was all practical, and I believe him. You know, I mean, it doesn't look like it had the biggest budget in the world, but it doesn't look cheap. And yeah, I mean, the soundtrack as well. I thought the score was really good. It gets the blood pumping and whatnot. So yeah, good. I mean, I thought, I'll be honest, I got a little bit confused by the plotting. Like, so who is this person on the phone? Who's that person on the phone? Who's double crossing who?
I'll admit, actually, there was a moment where I lost it a bit because it felt like there was an additional person on the phone, and it's like, well, you're not the handler, and I'm like, well, hang on a minute. I thought this guy was the guy who was behind all this, and it felt like now there's somebody else involved.
Yes.
The guy who's speaking to him at first isn't the actual handler who'd set up the job. The job, essentially, the Garrett Dillahunt's character has let the guy who's actually talking on the phone, he has given him the number to hijack the job off the Italian mob guy. And then he comes in and goes, hang on a minute, you've stolen my job. And so it's Garrett Dillahunt has crossed Frank Grillo and put him in the situation where he's actually doing the double crossing.
Yeah, I mean, it may be the voices on the...
the voices.
The voices are quite similar.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the music in the background or lack of music in the background indicates which one is which. And it's because one of them sounds like he's in like a jazz club or something. It's very odd. And I mean, there was those kinds of things. It was like, do they both have to sound quite as gruff as they are? We understand you're all manly men making this. Not all men sound like this, maybe. So yeah, I mean, I suppose there was that, but it's a small point. But maybe that just goes to show how strong the rest of the film is. It's a very, very, very solid genre film, and if these guys just wanted to make films for Netflix for the rest of time, that would be great.
That would suit me just fine, especially if they all come in at, what was this, an hour and 20 minutes?
Yeah, like hour 24 or something like that. It's like
an hour 24 minutes. Perfect.
Yeah. And our audience was definitely not shit, 50%, touching cloth 30%, shit 20%.
Okay, so we're going to break for the section with Mark and I speaking about Geostorm and Brawl in Cell Block 99, and then we'll swing back around to cover a little bit more stuff. Okay, so Geostorm, the mighty Geostorm, is directed by Dean Devlin and an uncredited Danny Cannon, who did quite a bit of reshoots, apparently. Stars Gerard Butler, Jim Sturgis's very, very odd hair,
Oh, thank God you said that.
Like, seriously, it's almost mullety. It's fucking bizarre.
It's I was watching it going. Throughout the film, we'll come to the film in a second. I apologise for interrupting this, but I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking it can't just be me that's looking at this and thinking like Jim Sturge just turned up and they've gone, right, we need to put you in hair and makeup, and he's gone, makeup, yeah, hair, no.
Yeah.
No, don't take it around my ears. I need it to cover my ears. It's so fucking weird.
No, indeed. It fucking mental. Also, we got Andy Garcia, we got Abby Cornish, we've got Robert Sheehan, Ed Harris, a whole mess of people, to be fair. So, Geostorm. It's a film that doesn't do what it says on the tin. All spoilers all the time. There's a lot of text on screen saying Geostorm in blah blah blah, but a Geostorm never happens. So Gerard Butler is a reprobate space engineer come action hero guy who is surly and cheeky, and so gets fired off a project because he's cheeky and surly, and for apparently no other reason really. And he was on a spaceship, and now the spaceship is being used as a weapon, and he has to go back up to the spaceship, but his brother is his boss, and they talk on screens, and stuff happens. Geostorm is mental, and I think there's barely any point talking about the plot. I want to say one thing right now. I want to ask Mark a question right now.
Yep, go on.
I WhatsApped you after saying it's got the single dumbest thing I think I've ever seen in cinema, and could you guess which bit?
Oh, yes. I think I did, but I've actually forgotten which bit it was. Is it towards the end?
Yes.
Shit, and I only saw it like a few hours ago.
It involves a car.
The electric car bit?
The electric car? Okay,
yeah.
Let's set the scene for people.
Yeah, is it the electric car? Yeah. Yeah, go on.
The electric car is driving along at speed on a road.
Yeah.
And Ed Harris's military man blows it up with a rocket launcher.
This is it. Right. Go on. This is the bit.
And they think they've killed the people inside.
Yeah.
The people inside then come up behind them.
Yeah.
Essentially kind of almost like pistol whip them. Ed Harris literally asks, "How did you do that?" And Andy Garcia utters the immortal line, "Because I am the President of the United States."
Yeah. Let's just unpack that scene just a little bit, because I don't think that you're quite selling the stupidity of it there.
Yeah, maybe I'm not. Yeah, please unpack.
Let's just rewind to the start of that.
Yes.
For a start off there, right? Why have they got a rocket launcher?
It's the only way to be sure.
It's just like it's like they've opened the trunk and gone, see, I fucking told you we'd need this rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And like these other two things that are in the trunk. It's a strange thing to pack in a trunk.
It really
Put
is.
the rocket launcher in. Why? We might need it. Can you imagine being the guy who's got to sign that rocket launcher out? Ed Harris comes in, who is the Secretary of State, and says, "Need a rocket launcher." And he goes, "What for?" "Just in case."
Yeah.
I can't really give you it for just in case. I'm the Secretary of State. Yeah, there's still a protocol though. I can't. We might need to shoot an electric car. Well, it's still flimsy for the form. I could get shit canned for this. But yeah, how do they get up around them? And then yeah.
It's just the fact that I love the fact that they actually reference how did they do that, and then it's just like, because I'm the President of the United States.
Yeah, which currently you're going, that explains nothing. It seriously doesn't take that much nowadays.
I burst out laughing Like, it was, and people in my audience did as well. And I don't know. I genuinely don't know whether they were going for a laugh or whether they were going for Andy Garcia as a badass. I can't tell.
This film is a little bit of a mess, isn't it?
It just, I mean, because like it was shot a couple years back,
yeah,
and then they did reshoots, and now it's out, and it feels. God, I mean, talk about Blade Runner having too much money. Geostorm had too much money. I mean, this thing was like $150 million.
Yeah,
and it in a way, how? Because Blade Runner created a world.
Well, what I'll say about Geostorm, getting into it, and you're right, it is difficult to explain the plot because, well, it's not actually. It's quite easy to explain the plot, but it kind of you could quite legitimately say, "Hang on a minute, is that a 2-hour movie?" And you go, "No, it's not a 2-hour movie." For a start off, I was expecting a weather movie. It's not a weather movie. Mm-hmm. There's very little weather in it. Mm-hmm. It's a sci-fi. It's more a space movie than it is anything.
Yes,
is what I will say.
Agreed.
Which I'm fine with. The space station design and the CG on that is quite good.
Yep.
It is that. It looks like an expensive movie, but then you have to ask yourself, who makes a $120 million movie that stars $150 million movie with reshoots and everything? That's lead characters are Gerard Butler, Jim Sturgis, and Abby Cornish, who for the entirety, and I saw this trailer a lot, thought was Maria Bello until the start of the film, and I went, hang on a minute, that's not Maria Bello, is it? Oh shit!
Yeah, it's Mexican non-union equivalent Maria Bello. It's weird.
It is. I was looking, going, it's not Maria Bello. I did think it was weird that they were setting Maria Bello up and Jim Sturgis up. That felt a little bit weird, but now this kind of makes sense. It's the thing is, it's a film written by the guy who writes what's his name? Roland Emmerich's movies. And it's written and directed by him. But it's kind of like, do you know what? And I like Roland Emmerich movies. They're turn your brain off fun movies. You know, 2012 is a fun movie. Yes, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and that is a fucking weather movie. And it's a disaster movie. This is neither a disaster movie or a weather movie.
But
it's just a movie where things kind of happen.
But it's an hour and 45 minutes.
Yes.
Which they get in and they get out, and it's probably just because it was a mess. Like, if it was competently made, it would probably be 2.25 hours, but it's not, and there are bits missing. I just, the thing is, I enjoyed my time with it.
I did not enjoy my time with it, is what I would say there. Yeah, certainly.
I mean, there's towards the end, when everything is finished, it appears that someone has unplugged the plug hole in Dubai, because the water suddenly seems to disappear away in a certain direction. It's like, right, okay, then fair enough. Dubai is a bath, and they've just unplugged it. Fantastic. The way of solving the problem in this is literally, have you tried turning it off and on again?
It literally is. Yeah.
So that it just, the thing is, I can't believe that they literally spent $150 million on it, and they were just like, this is a massive piss take. But there's quite a lot of stuff in this film that seems to point in that direction. But Gerard Butler does not know it's a piss take. And when you were saying who greenlights this film, I think they kind of greenlit this film in 2014 when Gerard Butler was still hot and Jim Sturgis was still a bit of an up-and-comer, as was Abby Cornish. You know, stars
Fair enough, yeah.
Stars have waned. That's the thing. But the fact you've got a Gerard Butler film called Geostorm.
Yeah.
That has got direct-to-video all over it. All over it. And yet... It's... But, like I say, I enjoyed my time with it. Would I watch this film again with beers? Fuck yes.
Thing is, because of sort of timing and stuff like that, because Bex wanted to see this with me because we both quite enjoy weather films.
Yeah.
Good job that she didn't come and see it with me because she'd have been disappointed that it wasn't a weather film.
Yeah.
But I'll happily watch it.
Were you really disappointed by the Weatherman, by the way?
The weather. Luckily, I knew the Weatherman didn't contain that much weather, but I would have been had I gone in blind thinking it was about the weather. Yeah. But in fact, when Bex texted me and said, "What was Geostorm like?" I went, "There's just not enough weather in it."
There's not enough weather, and there's no Geostorm.
There's no Geostorm. There's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of graphics saying there's going to be a Geostorm, but there's not actually a Geostorm.
No.
Also, it contains the kind of like the thing that most people in the audience would be saying when a self-destruct thing comes on the space station, and one guy goes, "Why would you even put that on here?"
Yeah. Even though, to be fair, they give quite a good reason.
Well, it was, because I'm thinking, why would you put that on there? And then it gives the reason, you go, that's fair enough, actually.
Yeah.
That's kind of, all right, do you know what? Yeah, that is, for every smart ass who's asking, why would they put that on there? Here's the answer. And you go, yeah, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. That's why you'd put that on there.
Yeah.
But then you've got the French guy who is literally in the background kind of just appearing, who doesn't appear to walk anywhere. He appears to just glide.
What, the security one?
Yeah, you're thinking,
okay.
He's a fucking wrong-un. He's a wrong-un. And then he's not a wrong-un.
The thing is, all the way through, I'll be honest with you, I thought Alexandra Maria Lara was the wrong-un. They actually... They somewhat blindsided me, but the only reason why they did is because Robert Sheehan is in maybe 3 scenes.
Yeah.
So, it's just like...
I don't know if they didn't change their mind halfway through this.
You have to wonder, because the fact that the only kind of evidence that you have that it's him is there's the scene in the control room where it's like, hey, where's British guy? Oh, it's him!
Yes.
And when he started beating him up, it was like, it's not going to be him then, is it? And it's like, oh, yeah, right, it is him. Wow, Gerard Butler has got some amazing detective skills because he's figured out there's somebody not in a room.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, like...
Moving back to Robert Sheehan, right? Robert Sheehan is Irish, right? Why not just make him Irish? Why did he have to have a terrible Cockney accent?
Well, they had that bizarre moment in the film that I thought was really meta, where Gerard Butler says me and my brother were both born in the UK.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, yeah, you were in real life, right? What? Why? That's such an odd little, huh?
Yeah, it makes no sense. But your dad was in the Secret Service.
Yeah. Oh my God, this film. The thing is, it's a film I imagine we might do a commentary for one day.
Absolutely, yeah. Also, as well, the Eugenio Derbez, the Al Hernandez, the Mexican character, when he starts saying to him about, when he first meets him, and he's saying, "I imagine you'd be younger, just because you're the way you've aged, the way you look doesn't match how old you should be." And it's like, how old is he supposed to be? Because Gerard Butler looks kind of like mid-40s.
Yeah.
And I'd picture his character...
It's a good line, though.
It's a great line. It's a great line. I'm thinking, he's supposed to be like 30. I don't get why this is being referenced. Have we missed a bit?
Yeah, I also before we end, I just want to mention the code language scene.
Yep.
Where, like, Jim, the way I don't know. The way they play that is incredible. Like at the end of that scene, the technician guy with Jim Sturgis is like, what the hell was that about? Well, yeah, he's got a point.
The fact that there's a technician guy just kind of there, just kind of like on a laptop, it's just it makes you make you think. Was that a reshoot or was that originally there? I just. Like I say, I had enough fun with it to make me come out and go, that was all right. Had it been 10 minutes longer, you'd be going, that was bullshit. Mm-hmm. But it's the right amount of time for that movie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing is, in terms of rating, it's really difficult because it's shit.
Yeah.
But I would actually recommend it if you're buying what it's selling. I think you'll enjoy your purchase.
Yeah. The thing is, yeah, I'm touching cloth with it. I can't say it's definitely not shit because it is a bit shit, but I also can't say that it's just shit.
It's testing. The thing is, Geostorm is the first test of the dude and a monkey rating scale. Because I give it a 3 out of 5, which my internal definition is definitely not shit. But it's shit.
That's the thing. It is shit.
It's like Schrodinger's shit.
Yeah. But it's also definitely not shit at the same time. That's the reason why I'm sticking with touching cloth.
Do you know what? No. Geostorm gets its own rating. Geostorm. In the future, if there is a film that I give a 3 out of 5, but is shit, it's a Geostorm.
I can get behind that. So Geostorm is definitely not shit. It's Geostorm.
Yeah,
it's created its own separate.
So there's no Geostorms in Geostorm, but nope. Geostorm has birthed a new dude and a monkey rating.
Yes, which is about the only thing that it ever will achieve.
Yeah, agreed.
Also as well, right? I have a feeling that calling it Dutch Boy looked better on paper.
Yeah, it's weird how many times they say Dutch Boy as well.
Yeah. It is. There should be a supercut of just the amount of times they say Dutch Boy.
I tell you what, though, man.
Because if you put Dutch in front of any word, right, it makes it sound dirty.
Yeah. Dutch banana, Dutch oven, Dutch microwave, Dutch flute.
Exactly.
Dutch table.
All sounds dirty.
Dutch lamp.
Yeah, all of them. Some of them actually probably are sex acts.
Yeah, they probably are. I've got to say, it's Warner Brothers, so it'll probably be 4K on Apple TV. When this fucker is like, this weekend only, $6.99 Geostorm, I'm a fucking buy Geostorm.
Do you know what? I don't blame you. When it crops up for $3.99 in like 6 months' time, I'll be buying it. Because it'll get watched. Because like you say, this film will be entertaining when you're a little bit pissed.
It will be remarkably entertaining when you're a little bit pissed. I mean, like, to be fair, I'm going to show it to Donna when she's drunk because she likes her weather movies as well. And I think she'll have a time with it. She laughed about the President of the United States thing. I explained that and she thought it was funny. So, it's a good time. Okay, so moving on. S. Craig Zahler's Brawl in Cell Block 99, which I was delighted to see is on iTunes to rent this week in the UK. And because I was looking at cinema showtimes in the week, and it was like, Brawl in Cell Block 99's out. Yeah, it is. Showtimes in Cardiff. One cinema. The cinema closest to me, in fairness, but one cinema. Showtime, 10:05 at night daily. What the fuck? And it's like, I wonder, because this is a cinema that plays a lot of stuff that goes straight to VOD as well. It's like one of the ones where it's like they play a few cinemas in the UK so it like they can get fucking press coverage and stuff on week of release. So it's like, okay, I'll check iTunes. $5.99. it would have cost me £8.80 to go and see this in that cinema, and it cost me $5.99 to watch it at home.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, for fuck's sake. So, story of... Hang on, what the fuck? Sorry, slight tangent. The noise I'm making there is I'm opening Super Mario Odyssey, which I've received 2 days early for some reason, which is great. And I've just opened up the box because I'm going to try and install the update for it so I can play it after. And in the box, it's got the lyrics to the Super Mario Odyssey song.
You can't knock Nintendo. They know not off fun.
Like, what the fuck? God, it's a long song as well. Jesus Christ, it's across both sides of the bloody thing. Right, anyway. Sorry. Right, so Cell Block in 99, directed by S. Craig Azala, and it stars our boy, our champion, Vince Vaughn. It stars creepy Udo Kier. It stars pointy-faced Jennifer Carpenter.
She's so pointy.
She's very angular, that woman.
She's so angular. She's so many triangles. You know when you have those things, the artist rendering for teaching you how to draw people, and they're like essentially it's just a collection of like circles and sausage shapes. Hers is just a collection of triangles and like hexagons.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Everyone's favourite Dakota Johnson father, Don Johnson, and others. So, Brawl in Cell Block 99. I suppose all spoilers all the time. So, basically, story is Vince Vaughn is a guy who, at the start of the film, loses his job and beats up a car.
He does go full Street Fighter 2 on that car.
Fucking amazing, that scene. And he then, what is it, like 6 months later, was it? Or 3 years
18
later?
months.
18 months later. Okay, it was kind of in between. Okay. 18 months later, he's kind of peddling drugs, and he's kind of a delivery driver for a drug dealer. And after some shit goes bad, he gets sent to prison, and he is given a mission by Udo Kier, which if he doesn't do some really, really nasty shit is going to happen to his wife and his child. So, Brawl in Cell Block 99, follow-up to Bone Tomahawk, which I believe we both were big fans of.
We were both very big fans of, yeah.
And here is the difficult second album. Mark, how do you think he did?
Well, it's... The thing about Bone Tomahawk was, what we both really quite liked about it was that it was very slow-paced, and it felt like you felt like you were watching a long movie, and Brawl in Cell Block 99 is over 2 hours long. And again, it's a similar thing. You know you're watching a movie. And we reference time, movie's been too long quite a lot. We do also reference sometimes occasionally movie can be a little bit too short. Whereas I think Zala's got a very good handle on making you spend time with his movies and giving you, these slow-paced, very sedate but very visceral movies. And Bone Tomahawk did that, but then it was peppered with these incredible bouts of violence. And Brawl makes it almost look tame in comparison at points. The opening is very good. I think it sets out Vince Vaughn's character. And by the way, when I say character, I mean not just the character he's playing, but the character's actual character. Very early on, in the fact that he's clearly got a lot of sort of self-control, and the him beating the shit out of the car thing is because he's been fired from his job, come home and found out that his wife is cheating on him.
Yeah.
But his release for that is he beats the shit out of the car and then goes in and has a very calm conversation with her about it. And then he basically, it prompts to 18 months later, and they're now in a better place. And the better place they're in is because he's essentially a drug runner. for them. Him getting to prison is because he decides to do the right thing at the wrong time. And then things tumble very, very quickly. When I finished Brawl, and I only finished it at about an hour ago. I finished it and was very much kind of going, fucking hell, what the fuck have I just watched? What the fuck have I just watched? That was incredible. It's amazing that he's managed to get this film made nowadays. It's clear that Zala is an incredibly talented filmmaker, but also one who I think will run into. He'll only ever make this type of film because I don't think he's got it in him to compromise. I don't think he's ever going to do that. I think he'd be happy with just making these type of movies, and you know, there's going to be a whole host of actors, you know, willing to sort of jump on board. I know he's got another one coming out the start of next year that was made pretty much on the bounce from this, I think, that also has Jennifer Carpenter, Don Johnson, I think Vince Vaughn's in there, and Mel Gibson's in there. You know, Vince Vaughn isn't there, Mel Gibson's in there, and it's a cop drama.
Oh, fuck, that sounds good. Okay.
Where, you know, you've got Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn play cops who work outside of the law, let's say, sometimes, apparently is the brief synopsis I read. And then I stopped reading there and went, do you know what? I am sold on whatever this fucker's going to do going forward. This is uncompromising, thoroughly uncompromising 70s cinema made now. It's part Scorsese, part Alan Parker, if that makes any fucking sense to anyone.
Sure.
The mood and the atmosphere this film brings out is quite something. It's fucking. I need to hear what you think about it now, and then we'll get more into it. What did you think?
Yeah, it's one of my favourite films of the year, and I think it's fantastic. It's gotten some slightly mixed reviews, and I think maybe if you're not tuned into his pacing and his kind of mix of viscera and dialogue, then it could maybe not work. But I was engaged the entire time. It had some really interesting twists and turns. I mean, it helps that I barely knew anything about it going in. I purposely, I didn't even watch the trailer. I kept myself really clean for it.
The trailer doesn't give you the film it is what I would say.
Cool. Okay, fair enough. And I think it wouldn't work half as well if it wasn't for the fact that Vince Vaughn is staggeringly good in this.
Yes. If this film didn't have the content that it has, then I think you'd be looking at awards buzz. He's that good.
Yeah, I agree. It's a transformative performance. He's not in the slightest funny, but he's very endearing, even though he's a physically really intimidating presence. But he's not like the soft-hearted lug either. It's not that he's like. It's not that he's soft. He's a very hard guy, but he protects those that he loves. And it, like you say, I mean, like the control he has and the rage, like the scene as well where he's in prison and then he's like saying 7 years, and he's just like, and he starts punching the wall. You know, it's fantastic. But then when he's talking to people, he's so chill. I think Zala's a really interesting voice who is not getting talked about enough, and I think, like you say, because of the content. Bone Tomahawk is a nasty film. This is a nasty film. I mean, the last shot of this film is one of the most fucking intense shot, like, effects of gunshots on flesh you've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, all spoilers all the time. The last 20 minutes, would you say, of this, Ian? Last 20 minutes of this movie. And there's been a few bits where you go, oh, fucking hell.
Like arm breaks and stuff, but nothing actually, like, visceral, just like, shit, that looked like that hurt.
But then then the minute Vince Vaughn essentially goes into retribution fucking mode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this shit done.
Yeah.
The way fucking I say all spoilers all the time, guys. The way he dispatches the Asian henchman is fucking grim.
Yeah.
He stamps on the guy's face
and then
while he's still alive, and then drags
him over, like walks him along. Oh my god!
Then pushes his foot down, and then turns him over so you can see this crushed skull,
deflated skull. It's fucked, man. Like
and then it gets worse from there somehow. It's uncomfortable, but the weird thing is, it's done with. It's not done in a way that a lot of filmmakers do, where they give you quick bursts of violence in their movies. Like, for instance, the Coens are not afraid of giving you graphic violence, but it happens like that. It's gone.
Yeah.
And a lot of filmmakers do that. And also, it's not Tarantino-esque, where it gives you the violence to linger on the violence, to show you the violence, to say, this is what you've come here for, which is what Tarantino does. We know, and that comes from his influence of grindhouse cinema, which is, you've come here for the violence. Here, have it. This is just happening. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's slow, but it's not gratuitous. It's just happening. And it's icky, and it's grimy, and it's horrible. But it's a world that is there, and you watch it going, this is almost like, you watch it going, this couldn't happen in real life. But kind of probably has. And I know what is explaining is going to happen to his daughter. They've got his wife, and his wife is heavily pregnant. And what essentially they're threatening him with is that there's a surgeon, an abortionist, who can go in and who can cut the limbs
I just don't want
off the child still in utero, and then the child will be born limbless. And the thing is, I remember reading about that years ago.
Oh, I don't want to know.
3 or 4 years ago.
No.
That was a threat made by a Mexican cartel boss.
It's genuinely one of the most upsetting images, and I think. It's making my stomach turn thinking about it, man.
Udo Kier. You have to have him delivering that.
Yeah.
That is Zala's gone.
Jesus Christ.
I know I want to do this. I want Udo Kier to do this. And the thing is, Udo Kier would have delivered those lines in a late 80s movie.
Yeah, agreed.
In a mid-90s movie. And we'll deliver it now. In 50 years' time, there'll be a film where Udo Kier will deliver that type of line. Because Udo Kier has no age.
Yeah.
Don Johnson is cool as fuck in this.
He smokes those cigars like no one's business, man. He's got his fucking own style. It's brilliant.
It is, yeah. Don Johnson is possibly one of the coolest men alive.
Yeah, fair shout.
But yeah, I thing is, I could have watched that movie for another hour.
Yeah, straight. Yeah, that. Yes,
and not got
yes.
and not got bored at all, because you're going right. At every point he gets in there, and you're thinking, shit. They've clearly not killed her, but they've done something to the baby. And then he sits down, and you think, Udo Kier's Udo Kier is not their doctor. He's not. He can't be. So he's clearly a bad guy. And then it's that. And then he gets there, and then it hits you when he gets in there. It's like, all right, shit. So cell block 99 isn't just a cell block; it's somewhere that he's got to go again. And it's almost like at points the game feels structurally almost like a computer game at points.
It's levels. It is levels.
It is.
Yeah.
And even the whole the pickup that gets them into trouble. The way that works, and the way that they're walking towards it, and the way that he's driving the boat out to the thing and then coming back, that feels like a computer game.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way. Just in a, I feel like I've played this level. I feel like I've played this mission.
Yeah, I mean, it like the kind of the opening half an hour almost like feels like the kind of the prologue you do, like the tutorial or something, where you're learning the controls, and then the rest of it is the game. And I mean, I liked as well just little subtle things like the fact that is it Chris Thomas is the name of the person he's got to try and find,
something like that. Yeah.
I like the fact that they said that name. It was like, that sounds a bit weird. Like Chris, like the big bad guy he's got to kill is called Chris Thomas, and then it turns out it was all bullshit. And it's like, it did sound like a bullshit name, but you don't think in the moment. You're not thinking, well, that's obviously not a real person. You just think, like for me, I was thinking it's a bit odd, that name. But when he gets there, and he asks and says, "There's never been a guy in there." You start thinking, "Shit, they've just got him to do all that shit to get him into cell block 99. So that's it. So he's fucked." And they're gonna because you're aware of Zala's style, you're thinking they're just gonna kill her, and he's gonna get sent these pieces, and it's just going to be an incredibly bleak movie. Yeah.
And then he comes out, and it's like the Diaz guys in there. And you're like, oh, fucking hell. Where the fuck is this going?
Yeah.
Wherever it's going, it's not going to be good for any of the people in it.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a really fucking good film.
It really is. And like you say, I think I'm almost glad that it's getting mixed responses, because you wouldn't want this to be one of those movies that everybody universally liked, because then what had happened there is Zala would get given, right, you've made these two movies for a combined, because this movie can't cost more than $30 million. I would be surprised if it even cost more than $20 million. Vaughn's going to have worked for scale, and Don Johnson just does movies that he likes the sound of now. He doesn't need any more money, is basically what he says. That's why he does a lot of genre picks.
Nice.
And so there's this Bone Tomahawk, probably a combined cost of pushing it 40 million, and they will have made money. But not a great amount. But if this had been like a massive success, he'd have ended up getting given $40-50 million to make a movie, and then there'd have been compromises, and it'd have been that.
Yeah.
Whereas now someone's gonna give him another $15-20 million to go out and make a movie. The next one will be a success, and then the next one will be, and they'll just tick along.
Yeah.
Just being like that until something happens.
Vigorous nodding is what I'm doing right now.
It's going to be like that, and not everybody is going to like this, because not everyone's going to get along with the pacing. Not everyone's going to get along with the violence within it, and not everyone should get along with the violence. It should be a movie that you can. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if the reason why they've released it on VOD and in cinemas, because if it was in cinemas, you'd have a fucking shitload of walkouts.
Well, there is that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's in today's climate. I see why they give it a platform release to get press coverage, and then they VOD it. You know,
yeah, it makes sense. It's a very sensible way to release this movie.
And I watched the last 20 minutes on an exercise bike in the gym at work, and had a fucking amazing time. My blood was pumping, my heart rate was up anyway, and it was like, this is fucking awesome. I need to see where this goes. Holy shit, that's fucking awful. Ow, that gunshot blast looked like that hurt. And then it ended. And, you know, like, I mean, Jesus fucking... I mean, it looked like it hurt. His face basically deflated. You know, oh, Jesus Christ.
And he kills a guard by snapping his face in a door by accident.
Yes. And
You've killed him. I know what I've done.
And he punches the fuck out of a car. And the thing is, a lot of the time when people beat up cars, it's almost like Faulty Towers or something, where it's not really doing anything. This one, it's video game reference. It's like the kind of the bonus stage in Street Fighter 2 where you got to beat up the car.
It is, and apparently I've read a thing about it saying that's a real car. They are real car parts. Vince Vaughn is really beating the shit out of that car.
I believe
it. They rigged it so that it would cause minimal damage to Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, sure.
But he is still beating the shit out of that car. You know, it's a things I've always thought that Vince Vaughn's actually a good actor. And it's kind of like it's the first time I think in a long time he's done something outside. He did comedy and then he went to try and do serious movies. It didn't quite land for him. He went back to comedy and, you know, had an amazing amount of success, became hugely successful, which, you know, he deserved because he's a funny guy. And then he's kind of gone, right, do you know what? People maybe don't want my brand of comedy at the moment. It doesn't work as much. So he's kind of gone off and chilled out a little bit and then come back with this, and it's quite something.
Cool. I hope he stays away from comedy and does stuff like this, in all honesty.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not shit.
It is not a Geostorm.
It is not a Geostorm.
It is most definitely not shit.
Yeah, I would be delighted, but very surprised if it's not in my top 10 at the end of the year, because if it's not, it means I've seen 10 fucking incredible movies, but I very much doubt I'm going to see 10 things better than Brawl and Cellbot 99. I doubt I'm going to see anything that is going to leave me at the end of it going, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
For the rest of the year.
There's no way it's not in the top 10 at my end of my top 10 at the end of the year. There is literally no way it's not.
Just say Brawl in Cellbot 99, definitely not shit. 86%, Touching Cloth 14%.
How many votes?
Only 7.
Okay, all right, but still, that's good. How about Geostorm? How'd that turn out?
Definitely not shit 43%, Touching Cloth 29%, and shit 28%.
Fucking hell, fair play. All right,
fair play
cool.
That. I'm happy with that.
Good. Very good. Anybody else see My Little Pony the movie this weekend?
No.
I did.
Of course you did.
Was it life changing?
Was friendship magic?
Friendship was magic. Friendship saved the day.
Are you a brony now?
Now, no, there were 2 bronies in my 10:45 in the morning on a Saturday audience, and I discovered what bronies were during the ads and trailers thanks to Twitter. So thank you, Twitter.
I didn't know.
No,
really?
No, I didn't know it was a thing.
Did you not watch that? Did you not see that documentary?
Apparently there's a documentary. No, I didn't.
This feels like old information, Ian. I'm quite surprised.
Yeah. People actually said on Twitter they were quite surprised. I live a sheltered life, and I don't think I ever really need to know about bronies. So
it's not as sleazy as it could be. But that documentary is actually quite interesting.
I didn't hear anybody jacking off. We were quite far away from them, which I was pleased with. So fine. It just if Lottie had noticed, and she's kind of getting to the age where she does notice shit. That there are a bunch of people in the audience, and a couple of them didn't have kids. I wouldn't have been surprised if she'd said something, and it just would have been uncomfortable for everybody. So there's a short film before this, which is an explanation as to why this is a minute shorter than Geostorm. Was that you, Mark?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Oh, shit. All right, fine. Yeah, okay, fuck. My Little Pony, the movie. I'm going to have to hurry this up. It's My Little Pony, the movie. Friendship is magic. Emily Blunt voiced a horse, so in part of my head, I wanted to fuck a horse, but I didn't. It was Emily Blunt, so it got a little bit confusing. Rainbows are magic, and there were pirate things, and everybody saved the day, apart from the bad guy. So, My Little Pony, the movie. There you go. And there was a short film at the beginning about something yellow trying to go down a rainbow slide and then getting into a fight with a scary thing that turned out it wasn't scary. It just wanted to jump in a pool. So, My Little Pony, the movie, 5 out of 5. I also watched The Death of Stalin, which is 4.5 out of 5. So, My Little Pony, the movie, is better than Death of Stalin. Death of Stalin is really very good. It's very good. It's very, very funny. And I kind of think it probably deserves more time than I can give it now, so maybe I'll talk about it next week. I don't know. Bye. Anybody else?
I've actually not watched anything. I've purely just the odd TV show here and there. So
we don't need to hear about that, Mark.
I've literally what we've watched, what we've already talked about.
All right, sweet. So an email that Noel was asking, who was it? I believe it was correspondent Marcus who gets back to us every now and then. So, hi guys. First, a tongue-in-cheek one for Mr. Loring. Listening to Old and New Dude and the Monkey, poor old Tommy Cruise gets a beating for going for younger ladies in his films. We all know the standard mathematical formula for youngest age dating is half your age plus 5. Isaac Newton, I think. So Cruise, 54, 55, can date a 32-year-old, right? Barely. Similar to Ian and Florence Pugh, 32-ish and 21. I'm sure Ian had a semi on talking about The Falling. Haha, thoughts. Right. Florence Pugh is a very good-looking girl. I don't quite remember being quite like that with The Falling. The Falling was the most overrated film of whatever year it came out in. She's a good-looking girl. Not quite sure I remember that. Mark, do you remember that?
I remember you being quite effervescent about the fact that she was a very good-looking woman. But that's about it. But I also did go, oh, brilliant, I don't need to watch The Falling now because it sounds shit.
It was. Noel, do you remember me having a boner for her?
I don't remember that, actually, no.
No? Okay.
No.
Neither do I, but
No, I don't remember you talking about The Falling, actually, but there we go.
It's fucking shit. And everybody loves it, but it's because it's a.
And I won't watch it.
I'm not going to say why.
It's got Maxine Peake and Maisie Williams in it, and those are just two actresses that. Yes, Maxine Peake is usually brilliant, but they are two actresses who people will just like everything that they're in anyway. So
yeah,
makes sense.
It's also directed by Carol Morley, who it kind of feels like people just need to love. So there you go. Also, 2, listening to Old Dude and a Monkey, and Mark always complains that there's not enough cock in film compared to tits. Once again, this is wrong. The opposite of cock is pussy, and they are both quite rare. Now, to be fair, I think the opposite of cock is tits in terms of cinematic.
It's not. It's not. Doesn't work like that. You can't do it. It's not based on biology. So, a guy having no shirt on is the same as a girl wearing a bikini or her underwear.
No, it's not.
No, in films, that's how I would see it. Is that, and then
carry on. I'm with him here.
Boobs for a woman. I'm not saying these are right, by the way.
No,
I'm saying
this is how it works. The rules. Yeah.
Boobs is equivalent to a male actor showing his arse.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's a fucking... Yeah, all right.
Right? Then you have you can't show, for a start off, you can't show an erect penis in even an NC-17 movie.
True.
It has to be an X-rated movie. The minute you show an erect penis, it becomes an X-rated movie, but you can show a flaccid penis. So I would say flaccid cock and pussy are probably on a level, but it's the
closed
same
legs,
thing.
Pussy.
It is, yeah. It's a closed legs. So
it's more.
You've got that. It's that. So it's not the same. A chest shot and a boob shot are not the same. It doesn't work like that. It's an ass shot and boobs.
I'm with Mark, and I agree. It's not the way things should be, but it's just that's the way it is.
That is the way.
So
it's why no actor will sign a 5-year deal with a studio to say, "I'm going to make my next 5 movies with you, but I want a no nudity scene placed in it." But actresses have done that in previous times.
The arse differential is
that's it.
Which I need to remember to call this episode. It's that's okay. That's giving me pause for thought there, Mark. That's well argued. Let's have a reply email. So thank you.
And the subject line must be RE the arse differential.
The arse differential. Fuck. Seriously, I need someone to actually remind me to do that because I'm going to forget. Right. Anyway, I've got a feeling Mark has not eaten. So
I've not. No, my missus has cut to this text me message saying,
"Fuck's sake! All right.
Are you done?" And I messaged back saying 5 minutes. I got the dreaded right.
Right. Okay.
5 minutes. We're discussing the arse differential.
Yeah. Yes. No, the arse differential had to be discussed. Right. Okay. So maybe we'll talk about like other things next week then. So next week we've got main releases in cinemas appear to be Jigsaw, which is directed by the guys who did Predestination and Daywalkers.
All right.
Which
I still don't want to see it.
Which actually had me interested. I'm going to see it. And Call Me By Your Name, which is directed by the guy who did the Suspiria remake and directed A Bigger Splash, which was great. So I don't know what we're going to review next week.
It'll be one of those two, though.
To be fair, Call Me By Your Name is apparently fantastic, and it might be a bit of an Oscar botherer. So Armie Hammer is dancing, is becoming a bit of a thing on Twitter. Michael Stuhlbarg, apparently Best Supporting Actor, Oscar nomination guaranteed. So that could be a good one for us. I'm going to talk about Jigsaw. Thank you very much to Noel for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, as always. Thank you.
And I think that's about it. Patreon.com/Dude and the Monkey. There will be stuff.
Yeah, I've got 2 shows that'll be out by the start of November, which is like Tuesday, I think.
Good. Okay, and that's going to do. Mark, eat. Noel, not eat. I don't know. What are you going to do now, Noel?
I'm going to watch Star Trek.
Oh, Star Trek Discovery. Good choice. Okay, and I'm going to play Super Mario Odyssey while my daughter sleeps because I'm a mean, horrible bastard.
Right. Speak to you later on, guys. Thank you very much for listening.
Bye.